All right, so what we need to do now to do a quick little survival curve in Excel, we're not going to do much of it in Excel as I said before, but I want to show you that you could and how to get started. We would like to unpivot this in a sense, so there's one column here that has the state names and there's one column that has the dates and then a column that has the numbers in it. And so we're going to do that now that we have all the zeros in there. And so we're going to select everything, and with a Control A to select the whole table and a Control T, it won't let me do it because it's already a table. So it's not going to do that, but it would let you do it. If you did Control T, it would turn it into a table. So you have this table here now, and I'm just going to click in B1, not that it matters. It's just sort of a reminder for myself. And I'm going to go to Data, and I'm going to go from Table or Range. All right, and we're going to right-click on our co-state FIPS here. I'm going to rename that, and we're going to call it Stacked Corona. And I'm going to right-click on the co-state FIPS and select Unpivot Other Columns. And that's going to, like that, it bounced over to the other columns, and you see how quickly it did it. And there we are. We've got that all the way down, and we should be good to go. It looks like it's worked. We'll notice there's some problems with the date attribute, but that's all right. We're going to go ahead and close, save and close, and boom, it did it for us. All right, and so we would like to now create another value out here called status, and that's what we need. But first, we're going to go ahead and change this attribute here, and we're going to go to Home and Find and Select to replace, and we're going to replace D underscore. We're going to replace that with nothing. All right, we replace all, and now we're going to have to go back and select the freeze. I'm going to pause till it unfreezes. Okay, we're back. The next thing I want to do now that I've gotten rid of my D's is I want to take this small, going to get in here, I want to take this space, however it's been created, and I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to replace that with a slash. I'm going to select my B again. I'm going to go to Find and Select again, and I'm going to go to Replace and paste that space over and put a forward slash in there. And again, I'm going to replace all and close, and it's going to freeze for a minute while it's finishing the calculations. Okay, it's done. So now I have my lovely stacked date table that I wanted, and that's great. I say when the machine throws confusion at me, and sometimes I just say it. So over here, what we want to do is we want to create something called status, and we're going to use an if command here. We're going to do equals if C2, whoopsies, if C2 equals 0, we're going to say Corona. And then we'll put a comma in there. Otherwise, oops, it should be no Corona. We'll put Corona here. If it's 0, there's no Corona. If it's not 0, there's Corona. All right, so now we have no Corona and Corona all the way down. And now we can come back and pivot table this table to get an idea of our survival. So I'm going to Control A to select this whole thing again, and I'm going to go to Insert Pivot Table, Okay, and then I'm going to go with value, which I hope is date. Nope, let me bounce back over and see what date was. It's attribute. And status. And then I'm going to throw status down here again, so it's just going to count them. And so this did not get, this D0128 did not get changed. So I'm going to have to go back over to my sheet 9 and fix that. Since I don't in fact see it, I'm just going to get rid of it. All right, so this gives us our from 121 on, and there's only 5. You can see it's the count. I'm going to change the way I look at this so it gives me a percentage. All right, so I'm going to go to my count of status. I'm going to go to value field settings, and I'm going to show the values. Instead of no calculation, I'm going to do percent of row total and OK. And this gives us our corona and no corona. And so I can plot this without it being in a pivot table. I'm just going to select these columns. I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to paste values. All right. Again, I'm going to have to turn my A column into dates. All right, and now I'm just going to switch my columns because I want to plot this as the downward sloping survival curve. Then I'm going to select all of those and insert. Could do a line or a scatter. Let's look what a line looks like. And there we go. That's a basic survival curve. So you can see that until the middle of March, it didn't look like there was any real chance that counties were going to get it. States were, as we expect people to do, whizzy-yaddy. What you see is all there is. What they saw was no cases, so it didn't seem reasonable, but in a very, very quick period of time, the survival declined, as it tends to do in epidemics, very, very, very quickly. So this was the one thing that we wanted to do in terms of doing a survival curve in Excel. We could do log odds ratios and other things in here as well, but it's a bit cumbersome, so I'm going to skip doing it there. I'll give you a link to some place that'll show you how to do it completely in Excel if you have the time. Mostly this section was about learning how to manipulate data and using some of the stacking and the transforms that Excel's pretty good at this point, and I hope you enjoyed.